Welcome back to Good Fruit Club. I'm T. We're continuing to look at the fruit of the Spirit, the gifts that God gives us inside of our heart when we let Him in to be part of our lives. And this week we are looking at patience. Patience can be really hard to have. Do you know what patience is? It's waiting for something with a good attitude. Oftentimes we have to wait for things and we can't help it. We just don't get them when we want them. But the key to patience is waiting with a good attitude, not getting upset or angry because the thing isn't coming, but waiting until the right moment comes. And that can be really, really hard, because if we think that we need something, or if we really want something, then we don't want to wait around for that. We want it straight away. And we can get impatient or angry or upset if we don't get it as soon as we want. But if God is in our heart, He can help us to wait patiently. And that's actually a really good thing to learn, because some of the best things in life are the things that we have to wait the longest for. And I'm just going to give you one example of that today, in that I make a special type of bread called sourdough bread, which you have to wait a long time to make and to eat. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's go down to my kitchen. Come on. So if I were just making bread the quick way, I would use something like this, sort of an easy bake instant yeast, which is just kind of like a powder. And that makes flour rise really, really quickly. But that's not what I'm going to use when I make sourdough. I use what's called a sourdough starter. And it's kind of a goopy mess. But what this is rather than just being a dry powder that doesn't do anything, that sits in a tin, this is actually alive. There's yeast in here that I have to keep alive, and I have to feed it every day to keep it alive and healthy. So every day I'll give it some more flour and some more water. And this is the trick to making good sourdough. Now, why would I want to make sourdough bread with a starter rather than just make quick bread with the instant yeast? Well, the reason is because the sourdough bread is so much healthier. That the process of that living yeast being in the flour, making it rise, it breaks down bits in the flour that are really hard for us to digest. And it helps our body to absorb lots and lots of vitamins and nutrients from the flour that we wouldn't get if we made bread this way. And so even though it takes a lot longer, it's a lot healthier and a lot tastier. So let's start to make it. So we've got our scale, we're going to turn that on, and we start with 500 grams of white flour. There we go, that's pretty close. Then we add in the sourdough starter, and I need 250 grams of this. So 500 plus 250 is 750. And then I add in 225 milliliters of water. And finally, a teaspoon of salt. And those are all the ingredients. So what will happen is I'll mix these up, and then over the next day, the yeast in the sourdough starter will begin to eat the other flour, and it will make gas that will get trapped inside of the flour, and it'll make it expand and rise the way bread does. So once we're done mixing it all up, it's one big gloopy mess. And this may not seem like a lot right now, but it will rise over the next 24 hours, and it'll fill out the bowl a lot more. So I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to cover it with a damp tea towel so it doesn't dry out. And we'll come back in 24 hours and check on it. It has now been a full day, a whole 24 hours since we made our bread dough. And let's see how much it's risen. Look at that. It's almost full to the brim. That's how much it grew. It took a long time to do it, but it's grown a lot. So we have one more thing to do before we can cook the bread. We're going to move it into the bread tray, and then we're going to let it sit for another 24 hours, and then we can cook it. I'm going to scrape it all out with the knife. You see, it's still really gooey. So we're going to leave it in here for another 24 hours, and it should rise to fill up most of the bread tin, and then we can put it in the cooker. I'm going to put a damp tea towel on it again so it doesn't dry out. And we'll leave it there for another 24 hours. It's been another 24 hours, and I've let the bread rise even more. You can see it's almost filling up the bread tin. And so now I'm going to put it in the cooker for about half an hour, and we'll see what comes out. Now we'll wait half an hour. Look at that. That is a gorgeous sourdough bread. Now I'm going to cut it so I can eat it while it is still piping hot. That is hot. You can see the steam coming off. This is my favorite way to eat it, when it's fresh, hot out of the oven. That's really good. Not only does it taste better than normal bread, it's healthier than normal bread, but it took 48 hours to make this. It was 2 whole days from when I first started putting all the ingredients together till I can finally eat it. But it's worth the wait. Sometimes the best things in life are the things that you have to wait the longest for. In fact, I want to show you one more thing that I'm really excited about, but that we have to wait for. I'm going to show you now something that I did 2 weeks ago. So, watch this. Alright, little princess. Do you know what's in this box?
No.
No, do you want to find out?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to see if you can guess, and when I show her, see if you can guess what it is before she guesses. Alright, are you ready? You looking?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think this is?
Eggs.
Yeah, don't touch.
Eggs.
She's right. They're eggs. Sit back. Did you guess that they were eggs? Look, you can see better what they are. But is this how you get eggs from the shop? Do you think these eggs are for eating?
No.
No. What are these eggs for?
For the chickens for hatching eggs.
For the chickens for hatching eggs.
To get babies.
Yeah, so I specially ordered these eggs because these eggs should be able to grow baby chickens. And we're going to go and we're going to put these under one of our hens and see if she'll hatch them and make us some more baby chicks. What do you think of that?
That would be very cute.
That would be very cute. Shall we go? This is one of our hens. She's called a bantam. And she is sitting in the roosting box, sitting on some eggs. And if I stay here, she's not going to like it because she thinks I'm going to try to take her eggs. But the problem is, the eggs that she's sat on are not fertilized because we do not have a cockerel. So there's no way the eggs she's on now could make baby hens. Can we see those eggs? Can we see those eggs? See, those eggs would never ever hatch. But the eggs that I got, they will hatch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take her out and replace those eggs that will never hatch with the 6 eggs that will hatch. So I'm putting these eggs in here so she can come sit on them. You can hear her squawking. She's very unhappy because I took her away from her eggs. And she's going to come back, and she should be very happy once she's able to sit on these lovely eggs, which some of them, maybe not all of them, but some of them should hatch into baby chicks in about 3 weeks. Whoa, I don't know about you, but I'm getting a bit dizzy from all that going forwards and backwards in time like that. But now we're back in the present, and I think we'll stay here. But do you remember what I said about how long it takes those eggs to hatch after the hen sits on them? It takes 3 weeks. And that's something that we have to have patience with, because it was 2 weeks ago that I gave those eggs to that hen, and she's been sat on them for those 2 weeks. If I were to decide, ooh, I can't wait, I really need to see the chicks now. I want to see those baby chicks right now. I can't wait another week. And if I were to go and I were to crack those eggs open, it would be too early. And the chicks just wouldn't survive. That would be a really, really sad thing to do. Instead, I need to have patience and wait until they hatch naturally. And that's something that we can do together next week. Next week is when those eggs should be set to hatch. And so we should find out about a week from now how many of them hatched. And I'm very excited to find out with you which ones hatched. But we have to have patience until then. But you see, patience is a really good thing because it can help us to appreciate the really good things in life that are worth waiting for, like really good sourdough bread or having baby chicks hatch out of eggs. Maybe you can think of some things that are really good that you have to wait for. Things that wouldn't be quite so good if you did it a quick and easy way. There's a lot of things like that in life. Let's say a prayer now, and we'll be done for the day. Dear Lord, thank you that you made so many great things. And thank you that many of the great things that you made, we have to wait for, because it shows us how important patience is. Lord, give us patience to wait for those really good things in life. Amen. Well, there's one more session on patience on Friday, and I'll see you then. Take care.